talented Robin Hood, independent women, countrywide poisonings, curses, and crazy emperors. Ancient Rome really had and went through it all. Let's see which one of the facts will shock or surprise you the most. Stay with me. Fact number 1. Think gladiators always fought to the death? Think again. While Hollywood loves the idea of brutal, bloody battles, most gladiator fights actually had referees, rules, and often ended before anyone was fatally wounded. Why? Because training a gladiator was expensive. Killing them off after one fight wasn't exactly a good business. There are forensic analyses supporting this. Experts Karl Grossschmidt and Fabian Kanz from the Medical University of Vienna and the Austrian Archaeological Institute examined remains from a gladiator cemetery in Ephesus, Turkey. Their findings indicate that the injuries were consistent with disciplined combat rather than chaotic violence, suggesting that referees enforced rules to minimize fatalities. This paints a much more structured and controlled picture of gladiatorial combat than we've always been led to believe. Although fight didn't necessarily end in death, there are, of course, ancient sources speaking strongly against them. Seneca the Younger, who lived from 4 BCE to 65 CE, the Stoic philosopher and advisor to Nero, was very critical of gladiator games, especially the more brutal and bloodthirsty ones. While Roman elites often praised the games as displays of valor or discipline, Seneca didn't buy into that. In fact, he condemned the sheer cruelty of many spectacles, just like in this letter number 7 to Lucilius. There is nothing as ruinous to good character as to idle away your time at some spectacle. The other kind of show is even worse, midday slaughter. There is nothing more disgraceful than this. The previous fights were a bit of entertainment, but this is pure butchery. As you can see, Seneca didn't follow the trend back then. Unfortunately, most of the time he stood alone in his own convictions. Fact number 2. You've probably heard the story. Romans feasted until they were stuffed, then ran to a vomitorium to throw up and keep eating. Sounds wild, right? And completely false. A vomitorium was actually just an exit passage in amphitheaters and stadiums, allowing crowds to spill out quickly. The word vomitorium comes from the Latin verb vomere, meaning to spew forth, and it referred to the mass exit of people, not food. Fact number 3. Romans loved their lead. They used it for water pipes, cosmetics, cooking pots, and even sweetened their wine with it. The downside? Lead poisoning, of course. In 1983, a geochemist, Dr. Jerome Neriagu, have theorized that lead toxicity might have contributed to the decline of the Roman Empire, leading to a decrease in cognitive function, disease, and even political instability. Back then, his theory was dismissed by other scientists. The most recent research, on the other hand, indicates that the extensive use of lead in mining, smelting, and everyday items was the reason for a significant lead pollution throughout the empire. Studies analyzing Arctic ice cores have revealed that atmospheric lead levels peaked during the Pax Romana, a period of relative peace and prosperity from 27 BC to 180 AD. This pollution likely caused an estimated 2.5 to 3-point drop in average IQs across the empire, potentially contributing to cognitive decline among the population. Could lead poisoning have played a role in Rome's downfall? The debate continues, but the evidence is quite compelling. Let's move on to fact number 4. Meet Bulla Felix, the outlaw who outwitted Rome. Around 205 AD, during the reign of Emperor Septimius Severus, this legendary bandit led a gang of over 600 men, robbing the rich and helping the poor. He wasn't just a common criminal, he was a master of disguise, deception, and strategic thinking. According to the Historia Augusta, Bulla Felix would intercept imperial convoys and wealthy travelers, redistributing their wealth much like a Roman-era Robin Hood. What made him so elusive? He relied on an extensive network of spies, informants, and an uncanny ability to impersonate government officials, fooling even the most experienced Roman authorities. His ability to evade capture for 2 years was unheard of in an empire known for its strict military and legal control. But, like it usually happens, his luck eventually ran out. Roman authorities finally captured him after one of his own men betrayed him. His fate? A brutal execution, called damnatio ad bestias, as was customary for those who defied the might of Rome. Despite this, his story is still alive, standing as a testament to resistance against imperial power. Interesting fact: some historians believe his legend may have been exaggerated, but his story provides a valuable insight into social tensions and class struggles in late Roman society. The scientists are also not sure if his name, Bulla, wasn't just a nickname, because it refers to the small amulet Roman children wore for protection. Fact number 5. In the heart of Rome stands Monte Testaccio, an artificial hill made entirely of broken clay amphorae. Why? Because Rome imported so much olive oil that they couldn't reuse all the containers. Instead, they carefully stacked the broken pieces, creating a literal mountain of ancient trash. Archaeologists first investigated this site in 1872 under German archaeologist Heinrich Dressel, who published his findings in 1878. In the 1980s, Spanish archaeologists Emilio Rodriguez Almeida and José Remesal Rodriguez continued the work, revealing that the amphorae came primarily from Baetica, modern-day Andalusia, Spain. This highlights just how far-reaching the olive oil trade between Spain and Rome was. Time for a fact number 6. Roman concrete is one of the reasons why structures like the Pantheon still stand today. Unlike modern concrete, it actually gets stronger over time, thanks to volcanic ash mixed into the formula. Researchers have studied the chemical composition of Roman concrete and found that the secret ingredient, pozzolana, helped prevent cracks from spreading, making it remarkably durable. In fact, some Roman harbors built from this concrete are still underwater today, enduring thousands of years of saltwater exposure. Fact number 7. Romans revolutionized timekeeping. While they didn't invent the 24-hour day, they popularized it. But here's the catch: the length of an hour changed depending on the season. A summer hour was longer than a winter hour because daylight hours were divided differently throughout the year. The Roman calendar also underwent revisions, most notably with the introduction of the Julian calendar in 45 BC, which brought a more standardized way of measuring days and months. Moving forward to fact number 8. Women in Rome weren't just confined to their homes. Some ran businesses, owned property, and even influenced politics. Take Livia Drusilla, wife of Augustus. She was a power player in Roman government, even after her husband's death. Women like Livia, Agrippina the Younger, and Cleopatra Selene wielded substantial influence, particularly in the political and social spheres. They also enjoyed more legal rights compared to women in many contemporary societies. Number 9. The medical fact. Roman doctors were way ahead of their time. They had scalpels, forceps, and even early versions of catheters. Rome was first to establish professional military medical corps which specialized in sanitation system and field surgeries. Doctors use hot water to sanitize their tools. They also perfected techniques like arterial surgical clamps and hemostatic tourniquets to control blood loss. Battlefield surgeons could treat all kinds of wounds, amputate limbs, and even perform cataract surgeries. Galen, a prominent Roman and Greek physician, pioneered many medical techniques that influenced medicine for centuries. But what's truly astonishing is the medical instruments discovered in Pompeii and other archaeological sites. These tools showcase the Romans' advanced understanding of surgery and healing, even in the most dangerous and chaotic of environments. Moving on to the intriguing fact number 10. Ever wanted to hex your enemy? The ancient Romans sure did, with defixiones or curse tablets. These thin sheets of lead, inscribed with malicious requests to the gods and spirits of the underworld, were meant to bring misfortune to rivals, cheating lovers, or even sports opponents. But what's truly remarkable is the sheer number of these tablets we've found, over 1,500 across the Roman world. Many were discovered in places associated with the dead or divine, like graves, temples, and even sacred springs. Recent studies show that these curses weren't just random wishes for bad luck. They followed distinct formulas. Inscriptions often named both the victim and the deity invoked, especially those connected to death, afterlife, and underworld gods like Pluto, Hecate, or Mercury. Some even contained hair or clothing fragments from the cursed individual, intensifying the spell's potency. And get this, curse tablets weren't only used for personal grudges. In 2021, researchers uncovered a set of curses from ancient Athens directed at business competitors, proving that even in Rome's economy, the supernatural played a role in competition. One of the most famous examples? The Bath curse tablets from Britain, where dozens of lead sheets were thrown into the sacred spring of Sulis Minerva, pleading for justice against thieves and traitors. Some even ask the goddess to blind or cripple the offender unless they confess. These eerie artifacts reveal just how deeply superstition and the supernatural influence daily Roman life. Whether or not they actually worked, well, that's a mystery lost to time. Unbelievable fact number 11. Caligula was infamous for his madness. But did you know he once declared war on Neptune? He led his legions to the northern coast of Gaul, supposedly to invade Britain. However, instead of launching an attack, he ordered his soldiers to collect seashells from the shore, declaring them the spoils of war against the god of the sea. This bizarre episode is documented by Suetonius in the 12 Caesars. Historians have different opinions about this event. It may have been a display of Caligula's madness, reinforcing his reputation for erratic behavior. Some suggest it was a symbolic military exercise or a ritualistic offering. Others argue it could have been a later exaggeration by Roman historians looking to discredit him. Following this event, Caligula reportedly built a lighthouse as a symbolic declaration of triumph over the ocean. Okay, we got to the fact number 12, and this one is pretty nasty. Rome had an impressive sanitation system for ancient times, public baths, aqueducts, and even toilets. But here's the gross part. People used a communal sponge on a stick, called tessorium, instead of toilet paper, rinsed it in water and left it for the next person. The public latrines were shared spaces where people sat side by side. This practice may have contributed to the spread of diseases like dysentery. Bloody fact number 13. The Colosseum's grand opening wasn't just any event. When Emperor Titus inaugurated the Colosseum in the year 80 AD, he staged a grand spectacle lasting 100 days. The games included gladiatorial combats, wild animal hunts, and large-scale executions. According to ancient sources, thousands of animals, including lions, elephants, and even crocodiles, were slaughtered during the event. The historian Cassius Dio describes how naval battles were staged by flooding the arena, though modern scientists debate whether this was feasible within the Colosseum itself or if it took place elsewhere. The inaugural games set the tone for centuries of bloody entertainment in Rome's most famous amphitheater. Moving on to the brutal fact number 14, Emperor Valerian, captured by the Sassanid Persian king Shapur I in 260 AD, suffered one of the most humiliating ends for a Roman ruler. According to some ancient sources, Valerian was used as Shapur's footstool, forced to kneel so the king could mount his horse. Other accounts claim that after years of captivity, he was flayed alive and his skin was stuffed with straw as a grim trophy of Persian victory. While some historians question the gruesome details, the fact remains that Valerian's capture marked a major blow to Rome's prestige and power in the East. Fact number 15. After Emperor Pertinax was assassinated in 193 AD, things got pretty crazy in Rome. The Praetorian Guard, the Eled's soldiers supposed to protect the emperor, decided to auction off the throne to the highest bidder. And who bought it? Didius Julianus, a very rich senator who paid the Praetorians a huge amount, 25,000 sestertii per soldier, just to take the throne. To understand how much money was it back then, a typical Roman soldier might earn about 3,000 sestertii a year. But, as you can guess, this whole buying the throne thing didn't sit well with the Roman legions. So they threw their support behind a general named Septimius Severus, who marched into Rome, took over, and had Julianus executed after just 9 weeks of ruling. This whole auctioned throne episode just shows how unstable things were getting in Rome at the time, especially during what's called the Year of the Five Emperors, where everyone was fighting for control. Fact number 16. One of Rome's darkest tales, and it's about Nero. In 64 AD, there was a huge fire in Rome, and while we don't know exactly who started it, some people say Nero might have had a hand in it, or at least didn't care much about putting it out. After the fire, he needed someone to blame, so he pointed the finger at the Christians, who were already seen as a bit out there by the Romans. According to the historian Tacitus, Nero went all out in punishing Christians. He had them rounded up, tortured and killed in some pretty brutal ways. One of the most shocking? He allegedly had Christians burned alive and used them as human torches to light up his garden during parties. Tacitus gives a pretty chilling account of it, calling it one of the most exquisite forms of torture. Now, there's some debate about whether all this is 100% true, or if later Christian writers exaggerated the stories to make Nero look even worse. But the image of Nero just sitting there, playing his lyre while the city burned, is still one of the most famous and terrifying memories from his reign. His reign was full of drama, but this episode really stood out. It's a reminder of how cruel this man could be. That's all I prepared for you today. Let me know in the comments which fact shocked you the most. Or maybe there's something you'd like to add to the list. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories from the past. Thanks very much for your time, and see you in the next video.